Oh god, that's hot. Why are you so hot?
Why, thank you.
Alright then.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into a little bit of an interview slash chimwag with Nazebaze joining us over from their channel.
Hello,
And,
Nazebaze.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how's it going, man? How's it been?
Hello. I should introduce you, right? This is the, well, should I point it to this side or are you on this side? Because you're on this side for me, so this is the Bjorn Scottcats.
Okay, that's going to get confusing.
That's going to be very confusing.
It's fine.
Where he's somewhere, you know the screen, he's somewhere around. That's the Bjorn Scottcats. For those of you who don't recognize it, I mean, we're doing a series together on Chivalry Total War. Go watch it. It's good.
Just a little shameless plug there. Always good.
Oh, shameless plug. We don't care.
Well, we have gotten here today, though. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about somewhat of the legacy of Total War and bringing into the modern remaster. To start us off with, though, I would very simply like to know, what was your first experience with Total War?
Oh, my very first one.
Yeah.
Medieval 2 back in 2006, I believe.
Well,
or
what did you think? Your initial impression?
I absolutely loved it. I obviously went to the desk strat thingy to play as Portugal because why not? I'm from Portugal. I want to represent. First campaign I actually did, I was super young. I did not understand anything, so I just cheated. It was just click the button to bring up the cheats and auto win attacker or auto win defender all the way. I beat the Mongols that way. Second time though.
That's actually impressive. Beating the Mongols for auto. Normally the general survives.
I did so many auto resolves in order to beat them. With peasants. I remember just beating them with peasants because I couldn't be bothered to bring my best troops all the way to the other side. That was very impressive. But the second time, I remember just playing actually properly this time. And I decided I want to be as peaceful as possible. But I ended up killing up the Spanish and the Moors, unfortunately. But it was fun. But the thing that actually struck me the most was the video of we arriving to the Americas. That was pretty cool, and I wish something like that would come back in futures of the wars. Unfortunately, not as much.
Yeah, we can... Apologies, going all high there. We can live in hope. We get there eventually. All's good. Need more coffee. But no, that's very interesting then, because if you started with Medieval 2, what made you go back to Rome?
Nowadays, I actually don't like Medieval 2 as much. I had a friend, I don't know if this store exists out of Europe, but we went to Fnac, and there were two copies, the very last two copies of Rome Total War, just a plain game. And we're like, that sounds fun. That looks fun. And with the guy on the cover just swinging his sword and yelling, we thought, this could be a very cool game. And it was only €5, so it said, we're gonna buy this. I was hooked. I now have 100 and something hours on the Steam version. I have probably 1,000 hours on the disc version. And I even bought the one with Barbarian Invasion and the Alexander expansion. And I still have it, which is impressive.
I always find it interesting talking to people about when they got into the original Total Wars, because I actually had them without any of the DLC, so playing them on stream on the channel was the very first time I tried Barbarian Invasion and Alexander.
Did you like them?
They were interesting. Going diplomatic there. I think personally, I would say that Alexander was quite eye-opening in finding out actually what a unit can do and how much of the world map, the campaign map, you can use to control the situation. Barbarian Invasion, I've only done it as the one faction. I did it as the Sassanids, which are the easiest, apparently. But I found out that economy does not work the same as it does in the original.
Oh, you will struggle. They don't give a damn. Oh, you know what? You're gonna print more money because that's how we solve problems. No, 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 no. But Alexander, I absolutely hate that one. Just, oh, I'm Alexander. Woohoo, woohoo! Let's go and kill off some Persians, an actually pretty great empire, and let's replace it with some Greek ones that are actually rubbish.
If we come back, we've got you started on Medieval 2, went back to Rome. Why do you feel you've stuck with it all this time? For anyone who hasn't checked out Nazebaze's channel, there are a lot of mods, and I think you may have done all of them at this point. I would not be surprised.
There are some that I don't particularly enjoy, like Rome Total Realism and Rome Remastered, but that's okay. It's just my personal preference. But I love the mods that Rome has, and if Rome Remastered cannot get on the same level, it'll literally be a game that people play and, oh, it's shiny and it's new. And when they're done with their Let's Play campaigns for the YouTube channels, they're just gonna throw it out the window because why bother? It's just vanilla Rome with pretty shiny graphics.
Well, we're going to get to that bit soon.
Yeah.
But on the note of the mods, fair enough, there's some you like, some you don't. Which ones are your favorites? And to be honest, would you still suggest any, even to this day?
Yeah, there are a lot of mods that a lot of people would love. One of my personal favorites is Chivalry Total War. It's literally, if you want a medieval 2 experience, but with different factions, different units, and a focus on more of the feudalism rather than the medieval aspect of the game. Play that. If you want to play as the Greek factions before the Peloponnesian War, there's the Greek Wars mod. There's also, if you want a more realistic Rome experience, you have Europa Barbara Rome. So there are a lot for everything. And if you want just fantasy, people have been doing a lot of mods, like the Avatar Total War has come out, it's still testing. There's also the Warcraft mod, for those of you who like World of Warcraft. So yeah, there are a lot to choose from.
Well, which ones would you suggest? Because with Remaster coming out, a lot of people are also getting the original, and since they are essentially the same campaigns, where would you direct them for the after game, as it were, the end levels?
For the end levels, well, if you want a pretty big grand experience, you have Warhammer. There's the mod as well. I played it. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. That's the problem with mods sometimes, but having so much variety rather than the vanilla experience is just so good compared to anything else. It's such a different thing. That's why Medieval 2 also was kept alive with all the mods. Like the stainless steel, and people go crazy for it. Like the battles are what medieval Europe could look like. It's a bit more fantasized, but it could look like that if people were, I know, willing to fight more. I don't know.
Which is a strange thing to say, giving medieval Europe. We want you to fight more.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, so it's still out there. There's a massive modding community for all the old Total Wars, but particularly Rome Medieval 2. Do you feel that it's really the mods that made you stick with Rome then?
Yeah, definitely. It was just the mods because, for those of you who don't know, I played as the Julii quite recently ago, and I decided, yeah, this is on hold now. It's because it's a boring. It's just fighting the Gauls, fighting the Hispanics. Okay, it's always the same unit with the different skin, different color palette, and it's just nah, I'm bored of that. Just gonna go and do something else. And immediately when I stopped that, I played as House Bolton for the Valar Morghulis Total War, which was actually pretty nice. Such a different experience.
That's I'm assuming that's a fairly recent one, unless it's based off the books rather than the movies. Movies, TV
I
series.
I think it might have a bit of both because it has the portraits of the characters of the series,
Mhm.
but it has a lot of things that only happened in the books. So a bit of
Okay.
a healthy mix of both. That's a good mod, actually. It's an interesting mod as well. And House Bolton forever because everyone hated him, but I loved Ramsay Bolton. He was just the best. He had so much flavor. But that's off topic. Back on track.
Well, I was actually going to say, on the note of mods, what is it that you look for in a mod for Rome Total War?
Something that is interesting and different. I normally also look at what have people not played as on YouTube. So I've not seen, for example, I've done the Greek War mod with, I completely forgot the name, with Thieves, not Thieves. Either way, that faction, I was the very first one to actually play it. After all these years, I've not seen any single other person actually play as the Greek War mod in the proper Let's Play campaign, either recently or to completion.
Mhm.
With the Valar Morghulis of War, that mod hasn't drawn too much attention because Medieval 2 has a much bigger and grander mod. And yeah, I look forward to seeing factions or campaigns or stuff that no one else has done or that are so bizarre and interesting that I have to give it a go.
Speaking of Rome Remastered, saying people are going to be buying that at kind of their first taste, how do you feel about it as a veteran coming into this updated remake?
Well, I like the remake. It's fun. I had a lot of fun playing it. And I can see a lot of people coming back to it and just getting the nostalgia back. But as far as I can tell, I don't think they have done as much streamlining as they could have to bring new people into the game and have them more willing to play the classic version of Rome. So, I mean, it's a win and loss at the same time. It's a bit weird.
I will say this does take me on to actually my next point of how do you feel classic games stand up in this modern day?
I mean, a lot of people have said this about Rome, and I've suffered with it, and I believe you have suffered with it as well. So the frame rate for the classic Rome on modern machines the frames are very, very bad sometimes.
Yeah, it's
Well, the
definitely
new one
a
is
lot
good.
of lag spikes, particularly in
Yes,
sieges and anytime you hit fast forward in the original Rome, big drops in frame rate.
if it is small scale battles, no problem whatsoever. But if you get a 20 on 20 or a 20 on 40, 20 of them coming as reinforcements, yeah, it's going to have a lot of lag spikes. Even vanilla version, which is interesting. I mean, they could have done an update for the classic ROM to bring it up
Yes.
to standard for the new computers, and but they decided to do a remake. I mean, they could have updated the older one to actually run smooth on the new computers, but I mean, it's a prerogative, I guess.
I am a little curious, sorry. So what unit sizes do you normally play on?
I always like to play on high
Mhm,
because that's the more balanced one.
mhm.
I don't like those players who play on Ultra or the now extreme version of unit sizes because pathfinding, not on just this new Total War, and all Total Wars is rubbish.
Yeah.
So you might as well not use the ones that are not. It even says experimental next to the
Yes, I
extreme
did
one. So
notice that. It's got a little like red triangle and it says experimental very
yeah,
clearly. I think
because
the
the game
balance
was not
also
made for
goes out a
that.
bit. Hmm.
Yes, because it's quite a lot of things going on. So yeah, you might as well play on high or normal if your computer cannot handle the bigger unit sizes that high comes with. Not that big, but it's okay.
No, that's fair, that's fair. on the... Sorry, just quickly changing computer screens there. It's always a bit fun doing this.
It's a bit weird for me to see. I have myself here and you right next to me, but on my other screen, I have us recording. It's a bit weird to see us in duplicate. Just hello there. To which beyond should I talk to?
Well, I'm currently talking to the chap from Rome, so all's good. But with talking about the update, the Rome Remastered, what would you say are the sort of shining examples, the good things they've done to update the system?
The frame rates are good. I have no problem whatsoever. I not have a single frame drop or lag spike or anything. The troops are pretty. I'll give them that. They are very pretty, and they can even be prettier with the better graphics mod that they given away for free.
Yeah, have you tried this? It's a high... Was it high quality or... Let me bring it up. I'll get the name.
I think it's ultra high quality, a texture pack or something like that.
An enhanced graphics pack, bringing in 4K. Let's just bring this up and have a little look-see.
Yeah, there's no point for me. I don't have a 4K monitor, and having 30 more gigabytes of space occupying my computer, I don't really want that for something that I'm not going to be using all that much. So the game is a pastime for me. I like to play it from time to time, but for my Let's Plays, I'm sticking to the original one, so why bother having it occupy more than I need to? The game looks fine already with the graphics already from the base game. See no point. If you have a 4K monitor, go for it, but I don't, so I won't.
For so many players coming into Total War, with this remaster, we see a lot of players asking about the original. And of course, that leads to a lot of modding and a lot of things new players aren't really used to. Even things like going into the settings and enabling yourself to play different factions. All fairly commonplace. I mean, even I can remember back in the day editing the time limits on it. But since there are so many new players coming, what would you recommend to them in terms of mods? What would you say are really the key ones they should look out for?
Well, depends on what they want. As I have stated, there's a big variety. So if you want historical accuracy in the Roman time period, you could either go with Europa Barbara Rome, Rome Total Realism, and so many others. Imperial Surrectum, I believe, as well. If you want fantasy, there's the Game of Thrones mod. There's also, well, it's not fantasy, but we don't know much, but Bronze Age Total War mod. There's also the Napoleonic Wars one. There's Napoleon, but if you wanted to play in Rome, you can. So it depends on what they want. The mod DB page for the mods in Rome, it's just vast. You will definitely find something there, most definitely.
I've actually just got up at one of the pages because the related files on Rome Total War 599. This has been going since 2004, so there's plenty on there, and actually plenty of them recently updated. May the 2nd, 2021 is the Rise of Rome mod, only recently updated.
That one it's very fun. I mean, very beginning of Rome. They're still using Greek units. It's very interesting as well. I mean, they're still kind of Trojan. It's amazing. But yeah, for the newer Rome, nothing like that still exists. And it needs to, because that's what kept the original Rome and medieval to alive all these years. I mean, Legend of Total War, for example, he still played medieval to a couple of years ago. Then Warhammer just drew him in and he just fell in love with it.
But there was a big transition with the introduction of Warhammer from most players going from mixing the historicals to almost dedicating themselves to the fantasy, which is interesting given, as you said, with Napoleon, we already had mods for those, yet people still play the mods rather than the main game. Yet when it comes to things like Warhammer, people are playing the Warhammer official and not really playing the mods as much. There's still plenty of players out there. Do you feel the
Obviously,
modding community is changing, reacting to this with the remaster coming up?
if I'm to be honest, CA is the one that actually adapting to what the modding community has to offer, because a Warhammer mod was already available for Rome and for Medieval 2. So they just got the license and decided we got to do Warhammer games now. Now they're actually doing this.
Now we can print money.
Now we can print money. Don't print money. That's bad for the economy.
Well, I'm sorry. They code DLC, which gives them money. There we go.
Yes, especially the blood pack. But either way,
what do you think the chances of Rome Remastered blood pack are?
They actually did a good job with the Warhammer one, but they're taking a whole lot of time to actually get the full map in, when the modders already brought all the factions and all the map in the mods. So it's just, it's printing money now.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if it's the Rome of the Medieval 2 one, but that actually does include out towards Araby. I believe it has Cathay and that lot in it as well, and like the Horde greenskin factions, the Goblin Hordes.
Yes, I think it might be. Both of them have Araby and the Goblins and whatnot, but I believe Medieval 2, because it can have more factions, has more factions. And the Medieval one is much better. I've never actually been able to play much because it kept on crashing on me. But I've seen a lot of people play it, and it is very, very good. It's actually a bit on par with what we have nowadays with Total War Warhammer. And people are still annoyed that they haven't called Total Warhammer. And Total War Warhammer is a bit of a mouthful. That's off the point.
I don't mind it. I don't mind the Total War Warhammer. But we've kind of mentioned it a wee bit, but the Rome Remasters come out.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, initial reaction. What are you thinking? You've played how many campaigns, or how? I know you've definitely played a lot of battles on it.
So far, first things first, the game is fun. But the original one was already pretty damn fun. So they didn't change anything in regards to that. So that's a bonus. They haven't changed how much fun the game is, and now it looks pretty. But I'm going to get to the streamers in a little bit. I've done the historical battles, all of them for the base game Rome. They've made the game easier, in my opinion. Much easier and much quicker. The average time I got on the historical battles that normally took me a long time to actually complete in Rome Classic, it took me about 4 or 5 minutes. Even Teutoburg Forest, I took 8 minutes to beat that. So
I'm assuming that's on higher difficulties as well, or?
Yeah, very hard difficulty. I beat them all on very hard difficulty. So yeah, it's not too much of a brag when the AI is so poor, but.
Oh yeah, if you try them enough, eventually you will pretty much complete everyone. Or at least that's what's happened with Shogun and Medieval so far for me. I'm assuming Rome will be the same. But do you feel that change in time, the speed increase, is because the UI, you can now control your units better, it's easier and quicker to set them up?
First things first, I hate the new unit portraits. They all look the same to me. I was looking at Teutoburg Forest and I was like, yeah, this is a legionary one because it has the Lorica, Hamata, or Segmentato, or whatever. They have a shield, they have a sword, and they look robust. No, I was looking at the Praetorian Guard for whatever reason. I thought it was a legionary. And then when I clicked on a legionary one, I thought it was, this looks like a Stati, but this isn't, no, it's a legionary one. They look the same. They cannot look the same. We need to tell them apart. But that's just a personal thing for me. But what I think they've done is they made them quicker to bring newer people into the game that haven't tried it and might get put off with how slow the game can be sometimes. I mean, the AI sometimes has a bit of brilliantism in saying, oh, the enemy is going to win against us, so we're gonna get out of here. And sometimes they do flank you, or they just bottleneck you. So sometimes they are good. Not all the times, but sometimes they are good. And they've done the pathfinding better now. Now the troops now know where to go inside the city, which was a big problem in.
Still see a lot of issues. Personally, I'm doing a playthrough of Skippy Eye. Still a lot of problems when they get into the city, moving between the streets. They seem to like going into those buildings.
And I had a bug on mine where I charged 2 general units against the unit that was against the wall. We killed the unit, and when my general units got stuck, I was unable to move them. I could still issue orders and change everything, change their formation and everything, but they wouldn't move. And the other one could. It's a weird bug that I never encountered in the Rome Classic. It's Rome Classic now, it has to be.
This is Rome Classic now. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, we have to rename it.
Or we just call it Total War Rome, and then Total War Rome, the pretty one. Probably. Because it is pretty, it's really pretty. But the other game also has its charms with the the color palette is just incredible. And there's an option to actually turn off the color palette, which I find stupid. Why would you do that? The amazing thing about Rome is, yeah, it's not historically accurate having the 3 different families, but having green, blue, and red Romans is cool. I like that. It's really cool. There's even a mod for Rome 2 that does that.
I haven't actually seen that mod. I've seen the Rome in Rome 2 mod. But no, interesting. Go on the note of mods. So I was just wanting to bring up that has been an official statement about what Feral's doing with mods. Well, I say official. There's been a message on a message board. Who knows?
Oh
but
okay.
Edwin in brackets Feral has declared, yes, we're lifting the limits from the original game to allow for more factions and settlements to be added to maps. More information in due course. We'll also be monitoring and keeping in contact with the modding community post-release, with help from CA. So they are showing a little bit of dedication there to the modding community, and even doing something we've wanted for a while, removing those caps, so we can, well, I say we, the modders, can expand the map, introduce more factions, introduce more settlements.
That is good, but they still have not. Normally they're very vocal whenever they give out the modding tools for the community to do. They've not done anything of the sort as of yet. So how far can the modding community actually go if nothing is said about any mod tools or anything? It's quite weird, but okay.
Well, we'll say as well on the mods, we have, so that last one I should just state very quickly comes from PC Games N, whereas this is Game Watcher. Game Watcher has released a lovely little article about how the first mod adds naval battles, new provinces, and hot seat to the campaign. How do you feel about the introduction of such features having to be mods?
So we're gonna have hot seats now.
Yes, that apparently has been modded in.
Oh, so they're introducing apparently bit by bit. That's good. But again, we do need the modding tools. They normally say, here are the modding tools, go nuts. But they at least are trying. Normally Feral hasn't said anything much, and them having actually said that is very good for at least the community that plays the game. Yeah. So at least the hot seat one was a very big thing in Medieval too. It was the only game actually that had a hot seat campaign where I also took part in a couple of them. Legend of Total War and Pixelated Apollo. A lot of them got their break on hot seat campaigns, and they are very interesting because you are the only one who can actually play that faction specifically. So it would be very cool to see that come back into YouTube, because that was one of the more amazing things for Medieval 2. that people
I see.
could select, oh, I want to play that faction, and they only play that faction. And if they lose, they are out. And someone has to win.
I hadn't
That's
really
very
thought about that.
cool.
Yeah, in reintroducing it to the, I'm going to say the YouTube curriculum. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, could definitely give way to a lot of interesting campaigns coming up soon.
And a lot of new content as well. I mean, it being a hot seat also helps with, for example, I'm in Portugal and you're in Japan. There's a big time difference. Suppose that we're going to do a co-op campaign. We have a very limited time window. But if it is a hot seat, we can do whenever. It's good. It's good like that because it is a hot seat. Probably as if someone loses the file.
Yes,
That's
that
a bit
was the
of a
most
problem.
common way for these things to end. Always remember in
Yes.
school we had the same issue. Someone lost the thumb drive. Old days, man. Show me age. Oh, and so we've got some nice mods coming in, little by little, sort of trickling through. Do you think the modding community, which is still active in Rome, will start to shift over to Rome Remastered now?
Depends again if they give them the mod tools to do that. I've seen, what was it called, the Roma Surrectum or something?
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up, there has been a teaser on some of the mods. Let me find you. I will say as well, I tried to bring up a picture of the unit icons and there aren't any out yet, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I had to take a picture myself to actually showcase it on this podcast and interview. Either way, I had to actually take a picture myself of what I am seeing because that is annoying. But either way, that is the very first mod.
If we bring this up, on Workshop,
okay.
We have Total Conquest as the most subscribed currently, adding 35 new provinces and unifying the Roman houses. We have Imperium Surrectum is coming over to Rome Remastered, but currently just a teaser, so nothing, no big news on that one. The Classic Rome menu loop, which I don't know why, but I love that they've just taken it retro. Perfect.
Yeah. And even the loading screens, it's also there. It's incredible.
Yes, original loading screens are in.
I haven't had any luck with any mods working for me, and I hope they fix it soon because it's a bit of a pain. For if it happens for me, it might happen for someone else. And it's a bit of a pain to actually get them to work, and I not have any luck so far.
I am curious. I personally haven't tried any mods on the new Rome Remastered. What is the situation? Is it like other workshops on Steam? You just click them, say I want this mod turned on, and play, or
yeah, it's like the Rome 2 mod launcher thing. You select the mod you want, and then you're good to go. You should just click play. But the thing is, I subscribe to the unit icon of original Rome because I wanted that to not confuse my teeny tiny little head with that. But the workshop thing in the game loading thing, it kept on buffering and I was unable to actually get them to load.
Okay,
so
just lagging out.
A shame. Yeah, my internet's not bad, but that's just pulling my leg over there. But okay.
I'm curious on something you mentioned. You're saying it's blowing your little mind. How do you feel the veteran players coming in, trying to play Rome Remastered, which it's not a huge change from the original UI for certain things. It's all kind of almost where it was before, but there's definitely a change in there. Do you feel the old players are going to deal with this update?
For one, I hate the new UI. I prefer the old one. It's much simpler. It's just sleek. It's just okay. That does that and that does that. Okay, cool. The other one just fills up the entire screen. I'm unable to do anything else. Fills up my entire screen, and I just get more confused. And the units just
So is that
What is
the
this?
the
Okay.
the panels, the parchments? You mean when they pop up
Yeah.
like your family scrolls? I think it's called in that. No, it's just family
Yeah.
list in that one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a list. It's not a family tree. It's just a list. I find it stupid, and also find it stupid that the big information that I need, it's on a teeny tiny little box on the side, and that I have to scroll through, and then I need to actually select and deselect, and I cannot have both at the same time. Why? What's wrong with unit cards? It's been forever since the beginning of Total War. Rome has it, Medieval has it, Empire, Napoleon, Shogun too, they all have it.
Mhm.
So why did they decide to change and make it streamlined, should we call it? I don't find that's an improvement, that's actually a downgrade, at least for me.
Interesting. So I will say, you have not played the iOS version of Rome, have you?
No. That's only available for, yeah, that's only iOS. This is an Android. So
Mhm.
I was never a fan of Apple phones, so
Oh, that's
I
fair enough.
never got to I never got to buy one. So Android all the way. And also,
Oh.
since I'm here, Team Slytherin all the way. Shameless plug.
Lovely. Well, no, it's
I
just
mean,
interesting seeing how certain aspects of the iOS version have been brought over onto a PC game, which is interesting. I do feel the color palette for me definitely feels like it is on the iPhone, the iOS version.
if Total Biscuit were alive, and if he saw a game that had iOS versions in a computer game,
We would have an extremely good video on our hands.
yes, we would have. He must be tumbling about, just and being really annoyed that there are still games nowadays that have ported things from from cell phones and
It's
tablets
I will
onto
say
computer
it's
games.
not ported for anyone who's played both versions. They definitely changed aspects of it to work on a PC, but there is a slight feeling if you've played both, they're a bit more familiar than with playing just the classic Rome and going into this.
Yeah, because Pharaoh made the iOS version, right? So
Yes.
that's their experience in making games, I believe. Have they done anything else? Not that I can recall. So
I honestly
if
don't know
they
either.
if this is their main project, it's okay. I mean, they did a good job with how the troops look and everything,
Mhm.
and the map looks actually fantastic. I like the colors. You can actually remove that, and then it's fine if you don't like them.
Mhm.
But if their only experience is actually iOS games, it's not that big of a portfolio into transitioning to a remaster of all things.
I honestly think anyone who can take a phone game, an iOS game, and turn it into what they've done deserves full credit. Whether you like it or not, that is impressive.
But speaking of full credit, I am annoyed that they are charging us so much for the game.
Mhm.
For example, the makers of Bioshock, they made the remastered version. It's literally the same game, better graphics. They changed nothing else. Same game, better graphics, and
Mhm.
better fluidity in modern machines. Cool. And if you had the original Bioshock on Steam, you would get the remastered version for free as well.
Mhm.
But they didn't go with that approach
They
for the
went they
veterans.
went half price.
They went half price. That's okay. I don't mind spending the 15 euros on that. But there are people who will definitely mind spending any money on a game that they already have just to look
Mhm.
prettier. Because that's basically what this is, or what it's supposed to be, a game that actually runs on modern computers with better graphics. That's what a remaster is. So
Yeah,
having
yeah,
and for
I'll
those of
take
you who
that.
don't have for those of you who don't have Rome, fine, 30 euros being spent, it's okay because you actually get Rome Classic with all the DLC. So that
Or
might be
on that
the
note
reason
of
why they do
getting the
that.
classic with it, do you feel that this has hindered the chance of Rome Remastered replacing Rome? Or do you just see it as a nice little touch?
It might be just a nice little touch because I mean, if you, it's basically a 2 for 1. If you can see it that way, you
Well,
get you buy one
trying to
game and
think,
you get
a
the other for
6
free.
for 3 with the DLC in? Or
Yeah,
expansions?
these expansions.
It's
Um,
expansions.
but yeah, people who don't have the game and are willing to buy it because they found it and they thought it's lovely.
Mhm.
Cool. They are if they are willing to spend the 30 euros or pounds or dollars or whatever the currency is. That's fine. But but for a remaster, I don't see other remasters being as expensive.
Final Fantasy.
Right, but yeah, okay. I haven't thought about that one. You're right about that one.
I will
Because
say though,
that's
that
60,
is
right?
kind of a not quite its own game. It's definitely still based on the original, but there's plenty of changes, and that is a massive, massive upgrade on graphics
Yeah,
and controls. With Rome, it's quite a strange one that they've been saying how much they're trying to keep it close to the original and really capture that feel. If it's so close to the original, wouldn't we just stay with the original?
if it's then it's not as close to the original as they want it to be. For starters, troops now run everywhere, but they haven't changed the stamina system. The colors are
Mm.
a bit different. It's sometimes it's brighter, sometimes it's not. The troops sometimes look very pale and not human-like.
Yes, I've run into this a few
And
times with units. I was on a hill, and if I went down underneath them, it was like a mannequin. It was like a
yeah,
model that they haven't actually finished rendering. And then as you came out, it started to then change into more of a tanned flesh.
yeah,
So I'm not too sure
that's
if that's just a bug or if that's an actual problem with it.
it. It probably is a problem because I feel that they didn't have enough time to actually fully flesh out this game and actually listen to what the community wanted with this game. They just did their own thing. The game just popped out of nowhere, and it was like, oh, it's coming out 29th of April.
Hmm.
Okay, like that.
Well, we're back in, and
We're
I've
back
actually
in.
got one.
OBS did me wrong, apparently. But
Well,
okay.
I've got one question for you, which is a little bit of a strange one. So, do you think Total War Remastered should continue to other Total Wars? Or should this simply be a one-off and we should stop living in the past?
No, we absolutely need to live in the past. I mean, so many games have been remastered these past few years, so they're being successful for a reason. They're good games. They just needed
But
a bit
is
more
it
love.
successful because the old games are good or just because new games are not giving what the audience wants? They've predominantly they've become more and more streamlined, more and more almost arcadey in how they
Hmm.
play, particularly when we look at well, Warhammer's a bit of an exception. It's fantasy, it's Warhammer,
Yeah.
but Three Kingdoms playing on the romance mode, and Troy playing with basically any general that is I can't remember the name of them, but the fighter Agamemnon is a great example. Can basically smash an army by himself.
Yeah. I don't like that. I absolutely loathe that because I don't. That's not for me. I stopped playing Total War games from Rome onwards because I hated Attila. I found it too dark. It was just weird for me. And then what was the game that came out after that? It was Warhammer. Okay, that doesn't count. But then the next historical one was Thrones of Britannia. I never played that one. People said, "Oh, it's rubbish," but they actually introduced a lot of things that are
Oh,
good.
play it. It's a good game. I loved Thrones of Britannia. It is that perfect
Yeah.
level of so broken that it's just fun.
That's a good kind.
Yeah.
But the other one after that was Three Kingdoms. That I don't like what they've done. Now you have each commander can have a certain amount of units, and you can have three commanders in each unit. It's no longer a
Hmm.
20 stack army. It's weird for me. I'm so used to being able to actually move around my troops, having forts and place them in choke points like in Rome or Medieval 2, that just is weird for me. And I decided, no, I'm not doing that. I bought Three Kingdoms. I played it, what, 20 minutes, and I decided, no.
That's
I
a
asked
lot
for
of
the
money to
refund.
spend on 20 minutes. Never tempted to go back and give it a second try?
No, nah. Every time I see someone play, I saw you play, and I understand none of that. And if you're having fun, good on you.
To
Now,
be
I did
fair,
not.
you joined for a live stream, just so people know, where we were doing a challenge, playing on Legendary, doing a Sun Ren campaign, meaning we got rid of our heir on turn 1. Never do that. Terrible idea, but very fun.
But yeah, what I've seen from you, the battles, it looks like Attila, but with a twist. And
Mhm.
I didn't like it. I liked the commentary that you were providing, but the game itself, it was not for me. Troy came out, and I see absolutely no YouTubers doing any Let's Plays on it, which is okay.
In time, I'll get there. Total
But
challenge, man.
I don't see a Lionheart or
definitely.
Alex the Rambler or Warriors. No one is doing any videos
It
on
came
that.
and went, but I feel that is more to do with the release on Epic Game Store, rather than an actual consideration of the game.
No. But either way, we're just talking about the game itself.
Mhm.
And I don't actually have an Epic Game Store account, nor do I care for that. Most of the games that I play, the most recent purchase I had for a computer game was Rome, and before that was the Three Kingdoms one that I got the refund for, because most of the games that I play are actually for Xbox. I
Interesting.
I don't care. The only games I actually play on computer are Rome. That's it. That's the game that I like. Oh, and Ultimate General Civil War. I love that game.
Which
Those are
is
the only two.
very, very similar to
Very,
Rome.
very simple.
Well, and just before we end, then, since Rome is not only the basis of your channel, but the passion you have for Total War comes from that. Let's have a one suggestion. If anyone's to play a single mod for Rome Total War, what should they do?
A single market. That's a tad bit tricky.
Well, if you're only allowed to pick one mod, all the others disappear. What would you take?
So if I can only play one mod for the rest of my okay, either the Ranno Jedi mod, which is basically Shogun 2, which is very, very good. Yeah, I'm actually gonna swap one of my things instead of Ranno Jedi. I want Chivalry Total War. It's just the best. It's absolutely fantastic. Everyone needs to play that mod. It's just good. It's really good.
Well, there's a fingers crossed there. Hopefully some of those mods make it over into Remastered. Definitely the modding community being the main thing keeping the older Total Wars alive. Oh, IDO. Well, that's been an excellent little chat and some nice little suggestions for anyone who's getting into Rome Total War for the first time. Go on, let's just finish off with what can we expect from your channel coming up in... I'm so bad at months. My brain has disappeared. In the month of May. The merry month of May. What will be happening on Nazebaze's channel?
Right. By the time we are recording this, I already... it was scheduled, so Now it's released. The episode number, was it 7 or 8?
We are on
You
7's
did
out,
episode
8 will be out soon or out.
Okay, so you did number 8, and I released number 7 today, by the time of recording this. I'm also doing, so one of my subscribers actually commented, hey, can you do the end of days mod for Rome? I asked which faction, and he said, anyone, they're all interesting. So stay tuned for end of days, hopefully this month, hopefully, fingers crossed. And obviously this is going to be up on my channel as well. Hi!
Hello, future self.
So, but if you want to see Bjorn's side of this, shall we call it a podcast interview? Yeah, let's say podcast. Link to its channel will be in the description below, obviously, because he most likely will have a different video experience than I am. I am way more lazier than he is when editing videos. Mine will be just adding some pictures from time to time, and that will be that. And that's it.
Yeah, that's
Don't
all you
have
need to
anything
do.
else planned.
Go on, keep it simple.
And what about you? You and that fantastic beard of yours. As you can see, mine cannot stretch as much.
Well, as always, videos every day on various topics. We are actually in a strange period on the channel, branching out and trying some new games, some new styles of content. Just have to wait and see what comes up. But that'll have to be till next time.
You've made me say what I was doing. Oh, that's a betrayal.
It's the best I've got, unfortunately, right now. There's a lot of challenges going through. But that'll have to be till next time. Adieu, lords and ladies. Well, it's been lovely having a wee chat. I've been Bjorn, and this has been...
I'm Nazebaze, and goodbye.
So professional.
I'm a professional.